We saw it really ramping up across the southeast states, particularly Victoria and inland New South Wales through Sunday, and that continued overnight. In the 24 hours, well, in the 23 hours, I guess it is, since 9 o'clock yesterday morning, Heathcote's seen over 160 millimetres of rain, with many other locations through central Victoria seeing above 80 millimetres. Bendigo over 90 millimetres. In fact, the rainfall around Bendigo triggered some flash flooding, which moved downstream overnight and has triggered a major flood warning for the Campaspe River. We've got a moderate flood warning as well for the King River over in the northeast of Victoria, and several other minor flood warnings. So it's an ongoing, unfolding situation as that rain continues to fall today.
Yeah, so southern New South Wales, we're even seeing rain in Tasmania. Now, some people might think, compared to the totals that we saw in southeastern Queensland recently, in northern Queensland, that doesn't sound like that much rain, but it hits very differently in the south of the country, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, how bad rainfall feels, how much damage it can cause, really depends on how it compares to the average. Queensland typically sees a lot of rainfall through the summer period, and Victoria typically sees a lot less rainfall. So when it comes down so fast and so heavy, it can certainly lead to some very significant impacts.
So a dangerous night. What are we expecting to see through the day today?
So rain areas moving through central and eastern Victoria, continuing through the interior of New South Wales as well, pushing towards the east coast. The risk of storms continues today, severe storms which may bring heavy rainfall and flash flooding. We've had severe storm warnings through yesterday, overnight. I think we still have one current for central parts of Victoria at the moment, and that's likely to continue through the day. They will be updated regularly, and you can find all of those updates on the Bureau's website. But in addition to the storms, we have a broader area of heavy rainfall possible across northern and northeastern Victoria, spilling over into southeastern New South Wales as well. So that's the risk of heavy falls, even without the presence of thunderstorms. So certainly a very wet day on the way.
And the rain leans all the way back up into Queensland. I understand there's a risk of some severe thunderstorms up through the interior of that state as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a very extensive rain band hitting Victoria, New South Wales and the interior of Queensland. It's actually even pushing into eastern and northern parts of the Northern Territory. It's a really long line of active rain and thunderstorms. But as stated, the worst hazards today are going to be seen through Victoria and parts of New South Wales.
Right, let's turn to the west. Heat, the northwest in particular, extreme heatwave conditions. How hot is it going to get?
Well, we are expecting those daytime temperatures to reach the high 30s and to low to mid 40s down the west coast over the coming days. So that heat's really been sitting over the northwest of the country, and it's going to start to push south over the coming days. So not just the heat, but the heat waves are also going to start pushing south, reaching even the southwest land division over the coming days with very, very hot conditions, warm nights in between those warm days as well. And that's obviously pushing the fire dangers up as well. We've got a number of fire weather warnings for parts of the west today. They are likely to continue over the coming days.
All right, and just to add in the mix, right at the end of the outlook period, Miriam, am I seeing a risk of a cyclone?
Yeah, so the Bureau's 7-day tropical cyclone outlook does suggest that we may see a low 5% risk of a tropical cyclone developing over the northwestern parts of the country, well, over the ocean. So that's the eastern Indian Ocean or the Timor Sea, sometime through the later part of the weekend into early next week. At this stage, it's still only a low to very low risk, but it's one to keep an eye on if you're living in that part of the country.